What's good, guys, and welcome to another episode of Mini Football Logic. It's Zeno here. Arsenal are going to win the league title, guys. Arsenal are going to win the league title. Oh my days. After 19 games, they are on 50 points, 5 points ahead of City with a game in hand over them. Oh my gosh. Like my dad was telling me, where has this Arsenal come from? Now, we knew they were building something, and we knew they were having a remarkable amount of patience for Arteta, but I don't think even they thought they would be able to get to this point as quickly as they have. I believe this is Arteta's fourth season at the helm, eighth and fifth, and now this is his fourth season at Arsenal, and he's already turned them into what they were under Wenger. Okay, it's ended. Obviously, they played against United today. And a lot of people kind of marketed this as the big test for Arsenal of their title credentials. Like, the Tottenham game was apparently meant to be a test for their credentials, but we all knew that was fraudulent. Tottenham were fraudulent, and the team in absolute SHI, you know that last letter. But they're a team that are mudded, so the reality is that Arsenal comfortably beating them wasn't a surprise. That's just the gap in difference between the two teams, isn't it? One team that knows where they're going and the other team that doesn't know where they're going. Nonetheless, Man United was meant to be seen as this big test. You know, they're a team in form. They beat City, albeit thanks to a controversial Rashford decision that Bruno Fernandes benefited from. And obviously they drew against Palace, but they're a team in good form. They've been undefeated in every single game they've played since the World Cup. And they played against Arsenal at the Emirates. And they ended 3-2, if you guys didn't already know. And Nketiah scored 2 goals. So speaking of Gabriel Jesus being injured and everyone assuming that, you know, because of the way they marketed this guy and promoted him in the media, that he was the difference maker and the reason why Arsenal were competing for the league, you can now put those arguments to rest. He isn't the reason, okay? Of course, he works harder than Aubameyang does, and he contributes more to the build-up. But he doesn't score as many goals as him. And Nketiah's come in now, and he's done decently well. Of course, people have been joking around, saying he's not up to scratch, up to quality. Clearly, there's not much of a fall-off in difference. Clearly, there's not much fall-off in difference between Nketiah and Jesus. And that's credit to Nketiah for working hard, and of course, once again, Arteta for believing in the process and putting his trust in him. And he's paid off with 2 goals, pure strikers' goals, ahead of the back post and, feeding off a little deflection from Zinchenko, I think it was. Like, Arsenal in this match against United controlled the game. Of course, in the first half, they had moments of indecision and worry. And Rashford, slapped an absolute rocket into the corner of the goal to get him the lead after 17 minutes. But Arsenal got back into the game, took the lead via the very own rocket from Bukayo Saka, who then, impersonated Rashford. Obviously, that celebration has been very common in football in recent times. It's been a celebration from before, though. It ain't Rashford's celebration. Players have done it before him, but it's quite jokes that Rashford does it in the same match, and then Saka then replicates him in the same game, scoring a screamer of his own. And literally, even though United got back into the game with a brilliant improvised Martinez header, United just weren't quite there for the second half. They kind of slightly dropped in their level, and we know now this Arsenal team are our superb team now, and they just put on the pressure throughout that half, and they got what you could say they deserved. It's actually mad to be saying this, because now they're playing these big games against Big Six teams, and they don't have no fear anymore. In the past, Arsenal have always had this fear playing against these teams, but it seems that fear's gone. Arteta has instilled a sense of belief and unity and togetherness in his team, and back in the previous arguments of them being spineless, lacking in edge, those things disappeared now. With that midfielder, Partey and Xhaka. Man United really missed Casemiro, and we all knew that from the moment he got yellow carded in the Crystal Palace game that this was going to happen. And Ten Hag thought that McTominay could essentially replace Casemiro and replicate his role. Are you mad? Ten Hag missed the trick there. I can't lie, Erik Ten Hag is amazing since he became manager, but in this game he missed a trick there. McTominay was never going to be able to replicate the performance level of Casemiro. I think he should have just gone for a different approach altogether, or at least put McFred together. Eriksen, the problem with him is that defensively he isn't going to give you much bite. He's a guy that, controls the play from this new role he started playing this season in a deeper role, deep line playmaker. And usually deep line playmakers, you get the best out of them by having enforcers around them to protect them and to get them the ball in the right places. And Casemiro was doing exactly that. McTominay couldn't quite replicate that level. And he was sometimes too high up to receive the ball. He's a holding mid. He's supposed to be, Eriksen should be the one higher up, and he should be. But nonetheless, and then the weird sub of Fred coming on for, was it Anthony? I didn't get that. It should have been Garnacho. Not a lot, that's, but hindsight is 2020, but I think the change in shape, I don't think was necessary. It was more of a change of personnel because Weghorst, once again, wasn't getting any service. Someone like having Sancho back in the squad is imperative. Even though his performance levels haven't been good, it would be imperative because he is a guy that likes to put the ball in. He's a great passer of the ball. So obviously with Rashford and Anthony, when they get the ball on the wing, the first instinct is to cut inside and shoot. Cut inside and pass. Weghorst doesn't benefit from that really and truly. Especially in the case of Rashford. Joshua, or should I say Dookie, has exposed in the past Rashford's low IQ to me, behind the scenes. Like saying that he is a good player with very impressive physical abilities, but his decision making is not up to scratch. And we saw it in this game and even the Palace game too. But we saw it in this game as well. The guy just doesn't know when to pass the ball or when to release. He just gets the ball, he runs. Now, most of the time it looks dangerous and it looks threatening and sometimes does happen, especially now that he's in form. But boy, there's a lot of times where he could have just slowed it down, looked for Weghorst, with the ball towards Weghorst. But this is what I mean by sometimes Rashford thinks like a striker, even though he's not one. He doesn't play there. At this point, you might as well play him up front because he's just going to be making decisions like a forward, like a striker. But all in all, Arsenal were very impressive. Like I said, the midfield battle was lost. And we all know that if you lose the midfield battle, it's very hard to go in and win the match. And Barty and Xhaka were magnificent. Odegaard once again was sensational. He is an absolute revelation this season. Like, I used to complain about his lack of goals. He's now added that to his game, 8 this season. And his passing has always been crisp, always been great. Zinchenko was magnificent as well. Absolutely exceptional performance. Don't know why City sold him, but I think Pep was just trying to help Arteta this whole time. And low-key, let's be real here. So, he was fantastic. Ben White was a bit shaky. In fact, he was very bad in the first half. I can't lie. Very dodgy passing. He was getting caught out by Rashford too many times. And he got yellow carded, so it made sense to sub him off for half time. But, Saka, of course, Saka was Saka, wasn't he? He's evolving slowly into a world-class player. And even though it makes me sick to the pit of my stomach, it's a joy to behold for England fans, I guess. And I guess he's Nigerian, so I'll go back my brothers. But he is an Arsenal player, which makes it a bit more difficult. But all in all, Arsenal look like the real deal. And who would have thought we would be saying that after they did choke top 4 last season against Newcastle and against Spurs beforehand? Wow. Anyways, I think I'm going to end it here. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next episode of Mini Football Logic.
Mini Logic.